Hi, this is Dan from dansbesttech.com. In 2017, Apple released the last MacBook Pro 13 without Touch Bar. I decided to give that version, the base 13-inch model with a Core i5 processor and 8GB of RAM, a try. Is it worth it in 2018 after the release of the quad-core 13-inch MacBook Pro? Let's find out. Let's first talk about the configuration options. As an average Joe who doesn't want to break the bank, I'm reviewing the base model, the absolute cheapest model you can purchase. Luckily, in 2017, the base model did not include the Touch Bar, causing the price to jump to $1,800 before tax. The issue, though, is that it only includes a dual-core CPU, but this might not be a bad thing depending on your tasks at hand, like the GPU performance and battery life. This configuration comes with 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, unlike the 2018 version, which comes with 4. It also comes with a 2.3 GHz dual-core 7th generation Intel Core i5 processor, 8GB of 2133 MHz DDR3 RAM, and the integrated Intel Iris Plus graphics 640. For this base model, you'll still be paying $1,300 before tax at Apple, but Best Buy has this version on sale for $1,150. This is significantly cheaper than the 2018 cheapest MacBook Pro 13 at $1,800. Upgrading the storage at Best Buy to 256GB bumps the price up $150 to $1,300 total. At Apple, you get more options. Upgrading the CPU to the 2.5 GHz dual-core Core i7 increases the price $300. Increasing the RAM to 16GB increases the price $200. Increasing the storage to 256GB SSD increases the price $200. Increasing the storage to a 512GB SSD increases the price $400. And increasing the storage to a 1TB SSD increases the price $800. This keyboard is Apple's 2nd generation butterfly keyboard. The keys are backlit with the ability to adjust the brightness. They also include an ambient light sensor. My issue, though, is that they only have 0.8mm of travel. I struggled for a year to get used to these keys on the 2016 MacBook, but I'm here trying it again. You'll either love them or hate them. I prefer the key travel on the MacBook Air 2015 and 2017, which has a 1.4mm travel. The real question in 2018 is, how do these keys compare to the 2018 3rd generation butterfly keys? The 2017 2nd generation butterfly keys are a little more tactile and require a little more force to activate. They also don't have the silicone barrier underneath each key, which is supposed to fix the problem Apple has been having with the 1st and 2nd generation butterfly keys. Apparently, dust and crumbs have been getting stuck under these minimal, low-profile keys, preventing the keys from registering a click. Apple has been servicing the affected keyboards free of charge, though. These 2nd generation butterfly keys are also very clacky. The silicone barrier in the 2018 3rd generation butterfly keys are causing the keys to be a little quieter, but not nearly as quiet as the 2015 and 2017 MacBook Air keys. If you hear that, that is my dog walking across. Sorry.
Hello.
And my girlfriend, but she's not as noisy as the dog.
Wife, not girlfriend.
In my opinion, the 3rd generation butterfly keys are a step up from the 2nd generation butterfly keys, but the 2015 and 2017 MacBook Air keys are much preferred when trying to type in a quiet classroom or office. Therefore, if you're worried about the longevity of your keyboard and want the best performance, I'd recommend getting the 2018 MacBook Pro. If you're worried about the longevity of your keyboard and want the quietest typing experience for note-taking in a quiet room, get the 2017 MacBook Air. This large trackpad is just as nice as all Apple's trackpads. The glass feels very nice under my fingers. The Force Touch trackpad works perfectly. Apple has nailed the simulated click. You can't feel a difference in the physical click, except that you can now click anywhere on the trackpad just as easily as you could click before on the bottom. It is way better than any Windows or Chrome OS computer's trackpad. All this said, the palm rejection on the trackpad isn't perfect. While typing, my palms sometimes activated the trackpad and moved my cursor and therefore my typing somewhere else on the screen. This has interrupted my workflow more than once. I'm now retraining myself to not rest to the inner side of my palms on the MacBook's trackpad to keep this issue from happening again. Is this something that happens to you? Now let's talk about the touch bar and fingerprint sensor. In order to get the price down, I am reviewing the 2017 MacBook Pro without Touch Bar. Right now at Best Buy, you'll have to spend an extra $550 to get the 2017 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. You'll also get 512 gigabytes of storage though. At Apple, you'll have to buy the 2018 MacBook Pro for $500 more or $1,800 if you want to get the Touch Bar. This version only gets you 256 gigabytes of storage, but you get the new 8th generation quad-core CPUs and 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports. To me, I like my muscle memory telling me exactly where each key is without me having to look at the keyboard. I also like bringing the cost down. One thing I like about the Touch Bar is the Touch ID. Regrettably, Apple does not currently sell a MacBook Pro without a Touch Bar, but with a Touch ID fingerprint sensor. The 2018 MacBook Air does include a physical function key and a Touch ID fingerprint sensor, but the MacBook Air performance is significantly less powerful. Regarding the ports, the 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro comes with only 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, both of which are full-speed 40 gigabits per second. The 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro with Touch Bar has 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, but 2 of the ports are throttled. Other than the Thunderbolt 3 ports, the only other port is a 3.5mm headphone jack. I will always miss having USB Type-A ports and an SD card slot. Please comment if you still require these type of ports for your applications. Regarding the sounds, the upward-facing speakers sound great for such a thin laptop. The sound performs much better than the 2017 MacBook Air and the 2018 MacBook Air. The larger 15-inch MacBook Pros have more bass though. For the best quality sound, use external speakers or headphones. Let's talk about the size and weight. The screen is a 13.3-inch diagonal screen. The screen uses Apple's 16:10 aspect ratio, which in truth is great for scrolling through web pages, as you can see more from the top and the bottom of each page. As far as the weight, I can hold this laptop with one hand with no problems. The 3.02-pound laptop easily fits inside a bag. It is just a hair heavier than the MacBook Air, and it is 0.59 inches thick. All this said, the size of the laptop is large enough to multitask, but small and light enough to be very portable. The screen inside the MacBook is a gorgeous 13.3-inch IPS display. The resolution is 2560 by 1600 or 227 pixels per inch. The laptop includes a 54.5 watt-hour battery. The 2017 variant with Touch Bar includes a smaller 49.2 watt-hour battery, but the 2018 MacBook Pro with quad-core processors includes a larger 58.0 watt-hour battery. Apple claims 10 hours of battery life for this laptop. Realistically though, I see closer to 8, which is good, but the MacBook Air 2015 still beats it. Also, because the battery is larger in the 2017 MacBook Pro without Touch Bar, expect better battery performance than the 2017 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. The 2017 MacBook Pro also includes 2 cores in the CPU. When running the laptop at full performance, you will also see better battery life than the 2018 quad-core 13-inch MacBook Pros. Regarding upgradability, nothing is upgradable. Get what you need when you need it. Let's finally talk about that 1-year-old processor. The 2.3 GHz dual-core Intel Core i5 7360U processor turbo boosts up to 3.6 GHz. You have the opportunity to upgrade to a 2.5 GHz dual-core Intel Core i7 7660U that can turbo boost up to 4 GHz, but this upgrade will cost you $300. The good news is that there is no thermal throttling in these dual-core 7th generation Core i5 and Core i7 processors. When benchmarked with Geekbench 4.3.1, I see a single-core score of 4488 and a multi-core score of 9441. The single-core score is on par with the MacBook Pro 2018 and MacBook Air 2018, but the multi-core score is significantly less than the 2018 MacBook Pro 13. The 2018 MacBook Pro 13 has a multi-core score of 16,817, almost double that of the multi-core score from the 2017 MacBook Pro 13. I'll talk a little more about these scores a little later in the video. Regarding the RAM, at 1150, the 2017 MacBook Pro ships with 8 GB, the same amount of RAM that ships with the $1,800 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro. You can pay Apple an extra $200 to upgrade this to 16 GB of RAM. Let's finally talk about the gaming performance. The MacBook Pro is not meant for it. That said though, let's run some benchmarks. The integrated Intel Iris Plus graphics 640 runs Tomb Raider with minimum frames per second at 23.6 maximum frames per second at 84.1, and average frames per second at 67.4. There is some significant stutter though that causes the minimum FPS to drop considerably. As a result, older games run very well. Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 generation games will run great on medium settings, and the latest generation of games will struggle at low settings. Let's now compare the 2017 MacBook Pro 13 without Touch Bar against the 2018 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, the 2017 MacBook Air, the 2017 MacBook, and the 2018 MacBook Air. Right now, Apple has not released the 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro without a Touch Bar. Therefore, you'll have to pay a premium for the Touch Bar if you want the best performance. The single-core performance in all laptops is very similar, with the MacBook Pro 2018 inching above the rest. The 2018 MacBook Pro 13 blows away all other laptops with a multi-core performance though. If you care about graphics, the 2017 MacBook Pro 13 seems to be the best value right now, even though the 2018 MacBook Pro 13 inches above it. Although if you really cared about gaming, you should get something with a discrete graphics card. As a result, if you are like me and care for GPU performance over CPU performance, then the 2017 MacBook Pro 13 is great. Just make sure to keep your keyboard clean to prevent issues and get ready for a slight learning curve to get used to the low-profile butterfly keys. Click like if you like this video, please subscribe if you want to see more, and check out dansbesttech.com for a full written review.